Namaskar and welcome to this exciting episode of Sattology, Debunking Mythology. Sattology means science of truth or study of truth. Opposite of that is mythology, which means science or study of fake, lie, or imagination. Sattology builds your identity and mythology actually destroys your identity. Now, my one common question to all the people who call their ancient history as mythology, try calling the word biblical mythology in American campus and see how people react to you. So let's stop the word of use of mythology completely because when you say mythology, that means you are telling that your own culture is fake, lie, or imagination. I recently heard also Indian Prime Minister calling Hindu history as mythology, and I was shocked. And I have no way to contact him, but I will put it out in some place. I've set the recording with me. And I'll say that please don't call Vedic history as mythology. The moment you say that, you're actually acknowledging that it never happened. So I have a very special guest, and we're going to talk about temple iconography. So without delay, let's welcome Monidipa.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Today, the topic that I've chosen is very important in Hinduism
Can you move your
because,
camera a little down? Just a little, slightly
like
down.
this,
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
As I was saying, the topic that I've chosen, Hindu Temple Iconography, is very important to Hinduism because Hinduism, many things are symbolical. We express Hindus always have expressed themselves in images, and there is always a meaning behind those images also. So Hindu temple iconography is very important to us, and it is also a little bit difficult because it takes a lot of understanding of the religion to understand the symbolism behind the image. You just look at an image, if you think that is just a figure of a person or a god, then you're absolutely wrong because there is a meaning behind everything: his posture, his jewelry, the way he is talking, the figures around him, they all tell a story together. There is a one very famous murti in the Brihadeshwar temple in Tanjore, where you will find Shiva and Parvati are sitting, and many figures are dancing. Now we need to know the story behind it. That he is actually in a dance competition with Kalika. Parvati is watching, and Kali is in Devi Kali is in this state of dance. Means that it has reached that part of the story. There are various series to the story. So Hindu temple, like the entire murti, everything in iconography in Hinduism is very important. You need to understand when you go to a temple, you need to understand that iconography. And it is basically the temple iconography is our historical documentation. First, you get to see when you see a murti, you get to see the dresses that they're wearing. You are aware of what people used to wear in those times. That is a very important thing. You see the social let's say fashion, dressing, the jewelry, and everything you see. What you see is what is reflected in the murti. So that is another point that you get to see the social documentation also. So our temple that you see is a historical documentation. You go around the temple, you are actually seeing history of that time through various ways. You see the dresses, the ornaments, the arms and the weapons, everything. Plus the murti that you're seeing that is also telling us various stories from the Puranas. Various Puranic stories are there, various Vedic representations are there. So our entire temple iconography is our story, our Hindu story basically. And we need to understand the symbolisms behind it. And there are various interpretations. You can interpret in one way, another person can, like this, those Mithuna images on the temples, there are very interpretations. You can say it's the representation of the Kama. You can say there is another beautiful representation of it. There are various ways of representing. You first need to understand the symbolism and then you interpret it in your own way. Hinduism is always open to various forms of interpretation, and Hinduism has always believed in welcoming various views, arguing. Arguing together, the masters used to sit down and argue about it, and then the winner is the person who used to convince everybody. This is how our religion was. It was never into wars and killings and all. It was more about fighting it out through arguments. So the symbolism might vary. You might believe in one murti, you might see the deity in one way. I might see in a different way. That doesn't matter. There are basics which you need to know, which will be same for all. Beyond that, the philosophical thinking might be, it's going to vary from person to person. And
So,
before I go into this temple iconography, I will mention some of the very famous people who have worked on it. One of them is Stella Cramrish. I'm sure people will be knowing her name. She's very famous. Her book on Hindu temple iconography is a masterpiece, Stella Cramrish. Then there is Gopinath Rao. His volume, 4 volumes on this subject is amazing. One must read the book. He's written in a very simple way, Gopinath Rao's book. Then there's Jitendranath Banerjee, whose iconography book is very good, but he is written in a complex manner. Kumaraswamy ka book is also there. The entire study of iconography is based on not just, you're not just looking at it, interpreting. You need to know the scriptures. You need to understand the scriptures. You need to know many of the inscriptions, temple wall, they have those inscriptions which often describe these murtis also. So you need to know the scriptures, you need to know inscriptions. Then you need to know the sculptures, how people used to work on these. That is important. There are coins which have Devi figures. You need to study those. Then seals. So these are all a part of the study of the iconography. You need to, when you start, say, I'm supposing I want to study about Lord Shiva. I take up the Bhagwan Shiva ka murti and I start. Where will I start? I will go through right from the beginning when his murti was being started. And that will make me read the coins, how he was represented on coins and seals, inscriptions, sculptures, everything I need to study. So it's a very complex
before
study.
you continue,
Yes.
so like when we say Pitambar, it's see the Western word iconography.
Yes, it's a Greek. Yes.
It's a Greco term for icon, which
Yes,
is like
icon.
a symbolism who denotes that in Vedic culture, every devata has a particular work to do, particular job is there associated to him, except Vishnu. Vishnu is the one who appears when everyone goes down.
Yes.
Everyone has a job to do. Even Shivji is represented, even though he's said the most handsome masculine figure in the world, but he also is in a deer skin, or he does tapasya, but he's considered the most handsome masculine figure, and his wife Parvati is considered the most beautiful feminine figure in the world. I mean, if you have to compare women, you compare with Uma, and Shivji say you cannot have comparison, but still it is compared. But the thing is, there is a fixed image associated to each of the devata. Fixed image. That's why, Shivji is considered absolutely white with black mustaches. He's the only devata with mustaches, I think.
Yes, he is.
He is very, very masculine. And he's a white complexion. So sometimes you cannot see. He is compared with Kailash. Now, the Western iconography is just a symbolism. But the Indian Vedic iconography, the word iconography itself is not correct to be used perfectly.
No, we don't use that. No? We use Bimba, Pratima.
Pratima. Like Pratima or Archa Vigraha. Archa Vigraha, you can do puja. So the Indian Devi Devta or the Vedic Devi Devta, which is for the whole world, by the way, not just for Hindus, it's for everyone. You need water. So without Indra, you won't get water. So the point which I'm trying to say, isn't that minimizing the Vedic culture when you say just iconography?
That term has been used because we started archaeology studies during the British era. It's okay?
Yeah.
So that started during this. Terms are all, if you take this term iconography or any, now it's okay. So if you take these terms, then it will not match our Vedic culture, because our everything is very different. We see the deities as somebody who is like us. We see them as human beings. For them, it is just a symbolism. For us, it is not symbolism. It is just something which is a part of us. It's very much us. So if you say that like everything in Western culture, Western secularism doesn't work in India, then this term is also will not work. So in that way, I don't think that the word iconography is correct.
Yeah, because the problem is when you use the word iconography,
Hmm.
and it can be used for Greek gods and goddesses. That's why they
Hmm,
don't
hmm,
put any
hmm.
clothes on them.
Hmm, hmm,
Greek
hmm,
clothes, the emperor has no
hmm,
clothes is particularly
hmm.
true for Greeks. And because there the only color which was widely available was white,
Hmm, hmm.
and all the time white is was boring, so they said that we will mostly do colorless. It's they have no clothes. Greeks have no clothes.
They refer this icon. The word Greek word is Eikon. It is. It might be a painting also. Painting, sculpture, even the mosaic, the art, everything is under iconography. So Indian, if you really translate to the Indian world, it doesn't work. We call it Orca Vigraha, and it's describing the very body of the gods, Tanu, Rupa. So we have a very different meaning. It's a very alive thing for us. It's like another human being for us. It's very different. And so I'm just using the term because that's what is now used in studies, history studies. And unless a new term is coined, we can use always the Indian term like Vigraha, Arka, and Pratima. We can always use those, and those are far better suited for us. Because, see, I'll give you an example. We use this Vimba. This is also used for Pratima. I'll give you an example in Bengali custom. During that last day of the puja, Dashami, we have this Darpan Visarjan of Devi Durga. We take a bowl and we fill it with water. And then we place a mirror in that bowl where the Devi's reflection is seen. That reflection becomes Devi. Then for us it is real Devi. It is not just a reflection or symbolism of anything. It is the Devi for us. And over there water is poured to symbolize the bathing ablution of the Devi, and so the Visarjan is happening. So for us this reflection Bimba is the real divinity. It is nothing compared to what the Western world sees as more the iconography, the sculptures. We see it in a very different way. It is very much alive for us. So it's very different. Uh, that's why when I write, I mostly write Murti Pratima. I never write those Western terms. So in a way, you're correct. It doesn't define. It's very narrow word to define our Vedic concept and our concept of our gods.
So
Our
when
gods are human beings for us.
yes, they're like
They are alive.
they're alive. They're alive. So when we
But when
enter,
Devi Durga comes, is the Ma coming for us, for us Bengalis. And we see her in that way. When our parents are gone, we see Shivji and Devi Durga as my parents. So it is a very different relationship we have with our gods.
so Romans had done for the biblical mythology, what they had
Yes,
done
yes.
was they assigned a symbol of fish for them. And
Hmm,
so
hmm.
that people can identify if it is fish there, then it's a
Ah,
Roman version of biblical mythology is there. Now, the
hmm.
another word which really strikes is in the native cultures around the world is the sun. Sun is worshipped across South America in all the native cultures, and because they built huge temples like Hindus have, like the huge Vedic temples kind of thing,
Hmm,
with the
hmm, hmm.
exact dimensions of a Vastu, exact dimensions. All the temples are square. All the temples are square. They have 8 directions worshipped in all the temples in South America. You'll be shocked. Common, common now across Hindu culture and native cultures in South America and even Native American. All temples are facing.
Sun is very important. Sun god is very important, even in our Vedic culture. Huh?
Yeah,
The swastika sign is the sun sign.
yeah,
One of the description is the movement of the sun,
yeah.
swastika.
And the all the temple positioning is east west
Yes,
and
yes, very
east
important.
west and north south is the windows, but the
Yes,
east west is the temple doors and the deity is
yes.
northeast, like in.
The first rays of the sun should come into the temple.
Yeah,
Very
and
important.
the Hindu, like the see the vastu for the home is different, vastu for the temple is
Hmm.
different,
It's
and
very different.
is different. and there is a particular water being offered in the temple inside in Native American culture, and nobody
Okay.
crosses that water. Just like in
Okay.
the Shiv temple. Like if you offer arghya to Shivji, then
Mm-hmm.
you cannot cross that water. You have to go the
Yes.
you cannot cross over. Like
Mm-hmm.
same way in the South American, Native American cultures. So yes, but the meanings associated, like when we go to a temple, what are the symbols we see? Would like to share some light
Mm-hmm.
on that, and then we continue.
Yes, I'll share light on that. Very, very common symbol is the lotus. If you go to a temple, the first sign that will come in front of you is a lotus. What does a lotus mean? Lotus is the representation of the cosmos, the universe. The beyond the earth, what is there is it. The lotus represents that. It also represents your the knowledge, the ultimate knowledge that we aim to get in order to get. Hinduism is all about moksha. Our temple is all about moksha. Hinduism is, these lives are all transient. We move from one life to another. We die, then the next life starts. Everything is aiming towards the union with the supreme consciousness. Whoever you see, Shiva, the Devi, or Vishnu, whoever you see, you want to unite with him. That is the main ultimate aim of Hinduism. So, lotus is that knowledge, that ultimate knowledge which you aim to achieve to become one with your God. So, this is one of the most common symbols all across the temples. You will find lotus. Lotus is very important because it defines what Hinduism is about, moksha. So that is one very important symbol. Then you will find lots of other motifs, floral motifs, and etc. there. Then the other motifs you will find are those Ganas, Shiva Ganas. If you see the fat round figures, you will find lots of them. They are a part of Shiva's group, and it's a very complex concept. They represent the air. I'll not go into it because it will take a lot of discussion. They represent the air, and you will always find them. That's why they're rotund, fat, because they are full of air. So you will find the gunners running around. Then you will find elephants. You will find elephants are in a row. That is known as Gajathara. Thara is a row. So Gajathara is there. Narathara will also be there, where you will find human figures. Then there's Simhathara, where you will find lions in a row. So these figures are very common in a Hindu temple, and elephants often just represent the maybe animal thing, but it also has a different meaning. Elephants often represent the darkness of lack of knowledge. If you see, there are often figures in a temple where you find a lion and a elephant fighting, and you will find the lion is killing this elephant. It means lion symbolizes knowledge, and the elephant is symbolizing the darkness where there is no knowledge. So, a defeat of the elephant is when you are gaining the knowledge. It's very beautifully explained in Stella Cambridge's book. If you all can get hold of it, must read. She's given a beautiful description of what does lion and elephant together mean in Hindu temple iconography. Knowledge versus darkness of ignorance.
Yeah, I'm always
So these
circumspect of European versions, always, whether it says
she is
Stella.
from an era where she used to read those matlab, those era, these people actually used to read books. It is not the later period, those leftist people who have done a mess. If you read this Michael Danino's paper, you will know, you will be so angry when you read about the misinterpretations that this left academia has done. Willful. It's not that they don't understand. They have misinterpreted, they have put in verses which are not there in Vedas. So post, I'll say 50s, 60s, the maximum distortion happened in our history. So these people are an older period when they actually studied Sanskrit. So even then, she has not fully understood her.
Yeah.
So that is why my book is Jitendra Banerjee, a Bengali person who knows what Hinduism is and has given a fantastic. Then I studied T.A.G. Rama Rao. You must study these books. These books, you will understand what iconography is. These two people.
Yeah, generally, like when you read the Puran and then when you go to the temple, usually all the temples have Puran stories outside.
Yes,
Like
everything is there. Everything is there. Even the
Vishnu,
Mahabharata Ramayana is there.
many stories like Kurma Avatar
Yes.
will be there.
Yes,
And
yes, yes.
and the crocodile trying to
You know why they did this? Why
Yeah.
they would do this?
Yeah.
Because most of the people wouldn't be able to read the scriptures. They were not reading the scriptures. These were there around the temple. They would go around, they would take this, go rounding this temple, pradakshina they used to do with a priest. The priest used to tell them the story. That is how these people remain connected to Hinduism. When these things were broken down by the leftists, when this Brahman bashing and all these things started, this is where they actually hit. This is what happened, why people got disconnected from Hinduism. One of these, another one was storytelling. This katha, this which we had, where these people bards used to go to villages and tell them, take out the scrolls and do the song and dance and tell them our epics and Puranic stories. These were all stopped because they were methodically stopped, because these were the connections of the common people who cannot read the scriptures to Hinduism. These lines were cut. That is why now we find so much of conversions going on. People have lost the connection with Hinduism. And the temple walls were those. They used to go around with the priest, and the priest used to take them to a Nishya and show them, this is the story, this is the Kurma avatar, this is the Narasimha avatar. So they knew the stories. Each story was explained, they knew everything. This is how they remain rooted to Hinduism. And this is why temple walls have these stories, for the common person to remain connected to the religion. So these things slowly got lost, and we also lost connection. India has to start all these things again, like the katha, the bards going around telling stories of Puranic stories. These has to start, otherwise we will keep losing connection.
Yeah, instead of giving money to Bollywood movies,
No, we
start
have to. Bollywood is totally trash. We need to stop that. I'm sorry, I'm using bad language, but we really, and people are boycotting it now. I'm very happy. We don't need to see Bollywood. We don't need to see the Puranic representation of Bollywood. We need to read the books. We go to the temples. Everything is there. You go with a priest. Go around. We give him 100 rupees, 200 rupees. He'll explain all the stories to you.
but they will spend 200 rupees on a movie
Going to a
and then
ticket and buying just popcorn for the movie.
and popcorn and then other things, right?
Yes.
See, the thing is, the Puranas, like if you read, anyone who is reading Mahabharata, you'll get so much enjoyment, so much enjoyment. I can tell you, like writers like me can represent small part with a message, but if you read the actual Mahabharata, it's full of entertainment. Once you start reading it, you can't get it, you can't get off. And you
Absolutely.
start reading Bhagavad Puran, so much to learn
There is
and
so
good
many
things to
things to
learn.
read. So many things to read.
I will tell you one my experience when I went to
Uh,
visit one temple in South India, Ranganath Temple, and beautiful temple. Outside, the entire planetary system is explained in parts and in small. So people who have read the Puran and they start seeing the temple, then they exactly start visualizing how scientifically somebody was giving them the designs, which planet should be where, and what is the position of Chandra Nakshatra. Because Chandra is known as Nakshatra. There is no such thing as planets and stars definition of the Western world. We have Nakshatra and Griha. So Griha is something else, Nakshatra is something else, Surya is something else. So beautiful Brahmand representation and the source of Brahmand, and then Vishnu sitting in the bottom. And then beautiful representation of Shivji giving Pashupati Astra to Arjun. Now, it's a Ranganath temple, it's a Vishnu temple, but there will be like those kind of Samudra Manthan stories, Lakshmi Ji's appearance. Now, if people have read Puran, before entering the temple, they can get the full story of the what is going on in the temple. And why Ranganath is after crossing all the doors of all the Devta, then you reach Ranganath, just like Jagannath Puri or Dwarka also. Dwarkadish is there. You cross through the entire story. Like I will people if people have gone inside Jagannath Puri temple and look at the walls, sometimes we just want to go and start blaming the Pandavas. We don't observe what's happening around us in the temple. We start blaming, oh, Panda was asking too much money. Well, you gave so much money to a stupid movie, and you're in the temple. If the Panda is asking money, Muslim is not going to go there, Christian is not going to go there, Jew is not going to go there. Only you can go there as a Hindu. But still, you're not appreciating the inside architecture. Like if you go to Jagannath Puri temple inside, the entire Krishna Leela, entire Bhagavad Puran is in the painting. If people are knowledgeable, every single section, if you see, you will be filled with bhakti. Before you enter
We need to get back into this culture. We have lost this touch.
right,
Where people would go to the temple to learn. That is the connection with all the stories are there. We can see
right,
those who don't know are being taught those stories. We need to get back this.
yeah.
So it's something I always insist on. We need to get back to those people who can tell us those stories. Not everybody knows them. We have lost the connection. So we need people, more people who know those stories and tell us those stories again.
And any temple you go, there will be two men standing on either side of the door. Jai Vijay,
Dwarpalas, yes.
Jai Vijay. And they are protecting with weapons. They are standing with weapons over there. And they are
Mm-hmm.
standing outside. So people, before they enter the temple, they will see two huge people.
Huge.
And
They had this huge Dwarpalas in the Chola temple, Brihadashwara temple.
yeah,
And you should see the iconography. Yeah? One finger is in a warning that you are entering the temple. So you better be careful you're entering Shiva's domain. It's beautiful. The fingers, the mudras, each one has a different meaning. You are entering Shiva's place, so be careful. Do not mess with Shiva. That's a warning figure. So these things, the Tena temples are beautiful. I need to observe them. People really needs to focus on these because problem is they lost the focus because they don't know the meanings. Why the finger is in that position, they don't know. They just think it's just some art or something. But each finger, each body movement has a meaning which people don't know. That's why I think iconography should, as a subject, should be put into the school studies so that students have some basic knowledge of what is iconography. So when they're adults, they know because these people don't know. Don't know the meaning of anything. They just go to a temple and Hindu temple is not just going there and offering prayers. It is the universe for us where we are meeting with our God, the divinity with whom we want to one day unite and go enter into moksha. So that is the universe, cosmos for us. Just not just going and offering puja and coming out. No. So,
the word was coined called idolatry. Now, for the
no, that's.
idolatry phobic people, they won't
Mm,
understand that the
mm,
idolatry phobic word or idolatry word is used for them, not for others,
not for us.
because others have meanings to it. So the word English word can be iconography or symbolism,
Mm.
because
But ours, it's.
it's a real story presented in sculpture. It's a real story presented in sculpture. It's like darshan. So you can get a darshan of the what the temple is about by looking outside the temple. There is
Absolutely.
in other cultures which are
Mm,
idolatry phobic,
mm,
those cultures have a problem because the hypocritical cultures, because
mm.
they they do idolatry themselves but
Oh,
blame
yes.
others on idolatry. Very simple. The church destroyed many temples in India openly, and all the
In Goa.
Islamic
I'm
invaders
writing on
destroyed.
Goa.
Yeah,
Goa is terrible. I'm glad Portuguese did not take over India. They would have destroyed India.
no,
What I
Portuguese
read
could
is
not.
terrible.
Portuguese could not because I tell you, Dutch were defeated in India. The Portuguese were finally defeated. They were brutal to Brazil. I mean, go to Brazil, you'll see what they have done to Brazil. It's like a
They
Brazil
are
will
finished off. They're finished off the native culture.
Brazil will never become a developed country in the life because South America
Mm-hmm.
still has the church sitting on them.
Yes, 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 yes.
Same is that any the Middle Eastern country which is Islamic government will
Oh.
never become self-sufficient because they have destroyed the native cultures completely. So without
Absolutely.
natives, they cannot have that. It's all borrowed philosophy. Now
It's just warfare.
again I come back to the Hindu temples now. So
Mm-hmm.
can you give us more examples of other temples that you have studied on the iconography and what special things that you noticed?
In temple iconography, the special things, one of the most special things is the one thing you must, I don't know whether you have noticed or not, that is the temple is full of sculptures. When you enter a temple, you'll find the outside walls are full of sculptures. Inside, the temple has various parts, as you all must be knowing. One is the sanctum. Then, first you enter is the mandapa. The mandapa, the first small place is the Ardha Mandapa. Then you enter the main mandapa. Then it's the vestibule, which is the connection between the sanctum and the mandapa. These are all filled with sculptures. If next time you go to a temple, you must notice this. These are all filled up with sculptures. The sanctum is bare. There are no sculptures in the sanctum. There is reason for it. In the sanctum, there are no inside the sanctum. I'm not talking about the doorway. Till the doorway, you will find lots of carvings, lots of murtis and all. Moment you stand over there, you look, you just see the god. You will find no sculptures inside. In most temples, there are few with sculptures also inside, but those are rare. Those do not follow the Vastu Sastra or the rules set by the iconographic masters. The sanctum is empty. Why? Because the sanctum is the place where the murti is there, and over there when we enter, it is very important. Sanctum in Hindu temple is very important. This is the place where you are uniting for brief moments with the supreme consciousness, whomever you believe in. You believe in Shiva, Devi, Vishnu, you are meeting that person over there. So the murti that you see is the connecting point. You are entering, this is the murti in front of you, this is the connecting point. It is the shikhara moves upwards, pointing towards the cosmos, where we believe our supreme consciousness is. So this is the supreme consciousness is coming from top to bottom. We are entering from here. The murti is sitting there in the middle. That is where is a point of contact. So it's a very, very sacred space. It's a very precious moments, few moments when you are inside. You are one with your God. Always keep this in mind when you enter the sanctum. This is a very, very special place, very sacred space where you are uniting with the supreme consciousness, even if for 1 or 2 minutes. So the place is kept very bare because you are not supposed to look at any ornaments. You're not supposed to get distracted by anything. You are supposed to become one with your God. The focus is on moksha. So the focus is on the murti, only the murti over there. That is why sanctum, inside walls of the sanctum are kept empty. This is one of the most important points in a Hindu temple. And next time you go, you notice this, because this is what we believe in, that once you enter the sanctum, you are becoming one with the God. Even for one, even then you're there for 5 seconds, you're one with God. So that is very sacred space for us. It is nothing compared to another religion. This Hindu sanctum divinity is something very special to us. This where we become one with the god, so there is no decoration. So this is a very important point in Hindu temple iconography, where the sanctum will be empty, and the sanctum doorway will, if you notice the sanctum doorway, it will always in the center point, top lintel part, there will be the god who is there in the middle of the sanctum. So he is represented on the lintel head. He is the one who's there. You know, the moment you see him over, says Lord Shiva, or you see Vishnu Bhagwan, or you see Brahma temples are not there anymore. You see Ganesha. You know, this is the main person is there. He is the same person over here. So this is another very important point. And the two most important points, two other important points are when you enter the sanctum. I'm only talking today about the sanctum today because this is a very sacred space, and when you enter the sanctum, you will find the two river devis, the lower part. So one side is generally the right side is Ganga, and the other side is Jamuna. They are standing on their vahanas. Ganga is on Makara, and Jamuna is on Kurma, or turtle, basically. So why are these river devis there? River devis are there because, first, number one, there are two explanations for it. First one, that it's a point where you are bathing. It's a symbolic, you are bathing in the sacred waters of this river, because now you are entering a very, very holy sacred zone. Now, before that, it's all earthly zone. You are an earthly person. You are connected to all your attachments, all your emotions, love, your hatred, your anger, whatever. You are a human being. Until you cross the threshold of the sanctum, you are still a human being. You are going to now enter the sanctum. So these two river devis are there to clean you, ablution. They are bathing you. So this ablution concept is also asked, later taken up by the Abrahamics. They do all those vazu and all, and this is completely our Vedic concept, where you are entering the sanctum and the river devis are there. They are washing you, they're cleansing you, because now you are entering the space of God. You are now leaving behind all, you're supposed to leave behind all your emotions, your egos, your anger, and you cross the threshold. You are not supposed to put your feet on the threshold, because that is a sacred spot where you will find the figures of lotus are there, representing the holy sacredness of the cosmos. So you're not supposed to step on it. You will put your feet one, you will put the other feet inside the sanctum. You will not touch the threshold. Generally, it's very high, difficult to cross, but you are supposed to enter that way without putting your feet on the threshold, that raisin stone over there. You're supposed to cross over. Moment you cross over, you have reached divinity, you have reached your God. There is the holy part, and you are at the river devis are bathing you in the sacred waters. The river devis also, they also symbolize life. They are life-giving waters. Because of them, we have those crops, we have fertility. Again, the image, that is the base, that was the basic mother goddess concept, human beings. So if you notice this temple doors, you'll find there are various panels. These are known as shakhas, dwara shakhas. These shakhas, you will find vines going up, signs of the floral plant life going up. Then you will find mithuna, couples. That is a creation, a procreation of life. So you will find these are there. These are all life that is coming out from these. The Devi is carrying a pot. The Ganga Devi is carrying a pot, the pot of life, carrying the waters of Ganga, symbolizing life. So you will find various water related animals over there, like makara is one of the most favorite animals that these people carve. Makara is a mythical animal. It's a composite animal of made up of a face, like sometimes like the elephant, sometimes like the crocodile, and it's a mythical creature basically, but it belongs to the water. Ganga Devi rides it. So you will find a lot of makaras over there. You will find a lot of gunners over there. Then you might you will find vines coming up. These, it is a symbolic, the life giving water she's carrying, and these are all coming up from there. It is the celebration of life basically. So moment before you enter divinity, you are seeing all this. You stand there, you watch them, you will find it's full of life. You are celebrating life. This is just before you enter God. So this is where you leave behind all these earthly things, and then you enter the sanctum where your God awaits you. Before that, next time you go, you must watch this sanctum doorway. You will find Ganga Devi with her vahanas. Sometimes she is with another attendant. If it's a Shiva temple, it will be a Shiva attendant. If it's a Vishnu temple, it will be a Vaishnav attendant. She is there with them. She is washing you when you're coming, cleansing you of all your sins. And then from her pot, the life is arising. And then on the top lintel is the main god who's inside. Then there are the nakshatras, all those planets are there. Sometimes, if it's a Vishnu temple, you will find the Dashavataras carved over there. So they try to put as much as possible into that sanctum doorway, because that is where you as a human being, the life ends. After that, you are entering a different zone altogether. So sanctum, next time you go to a sanctum, you go to a temple, stand before the sanctum doorway, because that is a very important point where you will be living behind your human existence, so to say, all your anger, egos, and then you will enter a space where you give up everything. You become one with the God. So before you enter that, they put in as much as possible figures of life in that sanctum doorway. And each of those panels have separate carvings. They're known as Dwara Shakhas. I'll send pictures if you can put them in this when you make this video. I think it will be able to explain better.
See, many temples, they show philosophy as well, like I mentioned with the Brahmanda. But no temple, I'm saying the old Chola, Pallavas, and all traditional temples, and many temples in the north also by the Bhoj dynasty and the Gupta period temples will never show misrepresentation of Bhagavad Gita, ever. They will never show that a Atma becoming Bhagavan. They will never show that. They will never show you can become God, because that is not
No,
by
you
Bhagavad
cannot become God. You can unite with the God to become a part of him. You are not God. You are just a small anu of the whole existence.
That's why it's called Anu and Parmanu.
Yes, you are just,
it's totally different.
You are nothing over there.
Yeah, it will never show. Like you will never show. I have visited many temples, in Vrindavan, old temples like Radha Govindaji, Radha Madan Mohan temple, Radha Raman temple. You will never see such symbols. Never. This is the later.
Because see, for us, when I say you unite with the God, it doesn't mean you become God. You are just a small part. You become a part of him. Moksha is you disappear into him. Matlab in, I don't know in what they say in Hindi, in Bengali they say bilin hoye jawa, meaning you become a part of him. You are not becoming a God. You just disappear into him.
Yeah, you will always see an Atma
Yes.
sitting next to in a prayer mode, like Prahlad.
Yes,
Prahlad sitting in
devotee
a
is,
prayer.
yes, yes,
But
yes.
we will never see merging the identity because that's offensive. Because
No, this concept is not there in us. We don't have this concept.
nato
It's that,
evaham,
yes, you see, it's different. We have to explain these differences because then there will be misunderstanding. Because ours is not that concept. We are a devotee. We will always be at a lower level.
yeah, one of the
And
things is like the one shloka natva evaham jatuna. They're very clear. Krishna says, natva evaham jatuna, so natva neva janade, nachevana bhavishyama, sarve mataparam. Very clear. There will never be time you did not exist, with never time I did not exist. Never
yes.
will there be a time in future where you won't exist or I won't exist. That
Oh,
individuality
beautiful.
of
Na Gita
Atma
is
and
beautiful.
Bhagwan is very clearly mentioned over there. So
Mhm.
Sanatan Dharma or the Vedic culture is the only culture which emphasizes on independence of the Atma to choose any path they want.
Yes,
There
yes.
are one path lead to Narak, another path
Mm.
leads to an eternal life. But
Mm-hmm.
eternal life means without temporary bodies being imposed.
Yes,
Uh,
yes, yes.
So the Hindu temple actually shows that you are entering a spiritual sanctum.
Yes, you are entering that divinity which you want to merge with one. You are not
Yeah,
becoming him, you are merging with him. That is a
temporarily.
very different concept which the Western world will find it difficult, a bit difficult to understand.
It is
So
very
it's
clearly
a,
mentioned. Trine punya bharata martya loka vichanti. Means when your punyas are gone, then you come back until you completely leave. And this is all the
yes,
Patanjali is all
yes.
about.
That life
So,
cycle of death and it will
Janma,
go on until you become that enlightened, total, that pure knowledge and all you get.
yeah, like the
Otherwise.
mention of Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi, Dukh Doshanu Darshanam. It is the Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi is a Dukh Dosh Anu Darshanam. Like it is part of darshan where if you experiencing these things, you will naturally, if you're stuck in this cycle, karma cycle, you will experience sadness here because this world is based on raga dvesh, muktesh, indriyash charan. Like there are many shlokas there. So the traditional temples and even the new temples that are coming up because we have one, Swami Narayan temple in Chino Hills in LA and beautifully done outside. I was looking at the small iconography. They still have not put the entire brain on the Puranic stories. But what I
Mm-hmm.
saw the symbolism of Vishnu everywhere and
Mm-hmm.
Shivji everywhere, but no stories there. That art we have forgotten because we have cut
Yes, we
ourselves
need to
from the
start this.
we have
We
cut
really need to
ourselves from the
start
Shastra,
this.
cut ourselves. But there are
I
other
totally cut
temples.
off.
Yeah, other temples are there. Like for example, the new Adikeshwar temple renovation work in South India, which was just completed. It in that temple, I could because it is done traditionally based on Puranic stories. They have recreated all the stories outside. So which is very different. Which is how the temple should be, not just
It
a
should be
plain,
that way. Yes.
not should be the plain wall. And
No,
in
no, it
Bang,
should never be a plain wall. There should be murtis over there that depict the various stories and the various forms of the main deity. Say, if it's a Shiva temple, you need to show the various forms of him outside. His
and
various the stories associated, like one of the famous stories of Shiva is burning Kama, Madan Bhashra, which we call. That story is very important, has to be there on the temple wall. So various stories have to be around the temple. This is a part of our Hindu temple. Entire this art and architecture study of it includes all these things. These have to be there because they all lead the devotee towards the sanctum where the main deity is sitting. So all these stories will help you focus on whom you have come to worship. A plain temple will not help you see the god and you'll not be able to focus. You'll just go around. But these stories are very important to keep your mind focused.
yeah, if you go to the temple of like in the Odisha and Bengal area, so they have a unique style because first of all, I really like the colors over there, beautiful colors, and they stuck out. I don't forgot the name. You must be remembering the name. The out so in the South Indian temple they carve in the stone and
Yes.
and the stones are kept outside. But in the
Huh.
Odisha and other temples, it's called the images come out of the wall. It's made from plaster, but it comes out of the wall.
It's relief art.
Relief art.
Yes. Yes.
Beautiful relief arts over there with colors, like the exact colors, like you said, that every, like Balram is in blue, Vishnu is in
Yes. It's
Pitambar,
very important for those colors are very important.
and those colors are done every year, fresh. Just like the Rath Yatra. Rath Yatra has
Yes.
the same thing, but in the wheels. If you look at the wheels properly, every design has a meaning. Every design.
Yes.
It's just the wheel I'm talking about, not even the upper structure. So, so it does play a very important role in Sanatana Dharma because it is telling you the story of from Puran. And Puran stories are not mythology because
No, these are not. No, if you say, I don't know why they call it mythology. They should stop using the word now. I get very angry when I hear the word mythology. We should call Mahabharata and Ramayana as epics. Historical
itihas.
epics is the best term to describe them because
See
they
the
have history. They have actual kings over there who have lived. So these are all historical documentations, and we should call them historical epics. We should not call them mythology.
See, the thing
It's
is
a
the
wrong
word,
term.
even the word epic. See, the Bollywood walas also use the same word epic. Epic has been made. I call them itihas only, or
It is
Sanskrit
history.
words.
Yes, it is very much history. It's a complete documentation of our social history, our political history, everything is there, religious history. So these are all history. So I don't know why people still, I get very angry when I hear the word mythology. I've argued with so many people over this.
Yeah.
So,
And one of the things which really strikes me is the usage of, see, there is a difference in the word. I recently was listening to someone. History is the past record, and
yes.
which was somebody has described it in the past, what happened, or wrote it. you know Itihas is as it happened, like, which is like, for example, Ramayana was happened and was being written while Ram was living, and was told to Sri Ram, and Sri Ram said, how did you know exactly what I did? So this is how it verifies Valmiki Ramayana as proof is done. Same is Mahabharata. Mahabharata was, while Yudhishthira Maharaj was living, Mahabharata was completed.
Completed.
So I mean, after 3 years after the Mahabharata war ended, it was completed. Yudhishthira Maharaj lived for 33 years more. He did rule for 33 years more. So this is how the difference right there. Same with Purana. The moment the Shivji, and he's called Tripurari, when he finished the demon, immediately it was told. Immediately. So his disciple Nandi is also his carrier, but also his disciple. So he immediately narrated the story to the Devta. This is how it's current. It's current. Everything is current. When Mahisha Mardini, when Durga killed the Mahishasur demon, that story was immediately told by her devotees to other devotees.
Yes, yes.
And this is
It's an
how
oral tradition we have, which was being continued this way.
continued. And Maitre Rishi, Markandeya Rishi describes that story again in Puran to Yudhishthir, in Mahabharata to Yudhishthir. This is exactly happened. And so, like, it's not that something has to be written, like, everything is live. Like, it
written
happened.
thing came much later, no? In our country, the written documentation came much later. Earlier, it was oral tradition. Everything, the carpenters used to teach their students, sons orally. Everything was oral. So this written thing is much later thing. Our history is oral history, mostly oral history.
Oral history, and no, but in written also we are the first. In
Of
written
course.
also we are the first, because all the Veda and everything was written first. So
Yes, that is true. Yes.
original. If you want to become the original literate society, then join Sanatana Dharma group.
Absolutely. We are still I'm very proud that we are the oldest surviving Dharma. I'm very proud to belong to this religion.
And the cities too. Varanasi, the oldest living city.
Yes.
And,
So I take great pride in it. See, all the old ones have gone. We are the only ones who are thriving.
Anything you would like to share more? Anything we missed out?
No, I think one thing I'd like to mention there's a lot of misconception created about this worshipping the murtis, which we do right now. people, I would say the leftist, I'll directly take the leftist academicians, they say that India did not worship murtis earlier. That is absolutely wrong, because murti worship was, if you want to take up archaeological arguments, murti worship was there in Harappa. There have been instances of mother goddesses, matrika figures were there. So murti worship was there if you count that as the documented start of Indian civilization. So murti worship was there. If you look at the Vedas, you will find murti worship is also there. So murti worship is not nothing new to Hinduism. It was there right from the beginning when our Sanatana Dharma started. So this is something which we need to focus on. We need to really fight back and say that no, it was always there. It was always there. In Pratima Nataka, there is one, it's a natak, it's a drama written by Bhasha. We find that there's a mention of pratimas of dead royalties which were worshipped. The ancestor worship is there. Then in Mahabharata, we have the Ayushi Pratima Bhima, which was given to Dhritarashtra, which he eventually crushed. In Ramayana, Sita's golden murti was used by the side of Rama. So the concept of murti is always there. If you look at the Vedas, you will find the murtis, sacrificial murtis are mentioned. Indra's murti is there where they're using it for sacrifice, and the wheel is there which is to represent the sun. So it's all murti. The existence of murtis started with the Sanatana Dharma when it started. It is always there. So when the leftist academicians say no, it is not there, it is new concept, please tell them no, it is there right from the beginning of our religion, of Sanatana Dharma. We have always worshipped it, and it is a very different. It is not the actual sculpture which the Western world studies. It is something which is very alive for us. That is why Sita's murti was made, because Ram believed Sita is real. This is the golden Sita who is sitting beside him is the representation of the real Sita. So murti is like a live human being for us. We are not just a showpiece for us. So it is a very different concept also from the Western world.
See, again,
And so these are the basic points which I want to cover. I think it's more or less done.
No, we always blame the left for everything. We give too much importance to them. Left is ideologically and knowledge-wise bankrupt. I mean, they're the
totally bankrupt.
foolish people masquerading as left. It's just a fashion right now. Left is not intellectualism now, because left is more about propagandism. They do more propaganda than anything else. If they were truly left, they will work in the political opposition, because left and right is political ideology, that too coming from France. So we cannot just everything in the. I call them just foolish people. They have no logic, no reasoning. They can't stand even 2 minutes with us. 2 minutes.
No, they cannot. They
run away, and then they start giving statements. So let's not giving them any.
Then they'll start calling us names. Even I have heard.
That's the fashion in America also. Look at the. I can go on and on, so I'll stop here. I won't say anything more, but it's foolishness. So let's avoid them completely. We don't need them.
Now we Hindus have to now take initiative, and we have to start connecting back to our roots. We have lost those roots. As I was saying, you need to study the Puranic stories. You need to visit temples with a different mindset now. You go in, you just don't go pray and come out. See the sculptures around the temple, understand those sculptures. Buy some books on iconography by these old masters, T.A.G. Rao, Jitendranath Banerjee. Get their books, study the meaning. Why Shiva has curly hair, beautiful meaning. So,
and if you read Puran, all of you, anyone has read Puran, go to the nearest temple where you see the blank walls outside. After taking due permission, build those pictures and outside.
Yes.
This is how we need to repaint the world again properly.
Yes, we need to. Very much required. Temples walls are not supposed to be empty.
And some foolish people have said, forget about Devi Devta for 50 years. And I tell to those people, it's really foolish. Communism, leftism.
No,
I don't want to take any names here, but I want to tell them, Bhagavad Gita tells you to worship Devi Devta, cooperate with them, so that prosperity for Manushya, means entire human society, is attained.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Devi Devta is not Bhagwan. Bhagwan is different. Devi Devta are different. So the point is, we have to go back to the basics of respecting Devi Devta for what they give us. They
True.
give us air, they give us, and you may say science doesn't say that. Okay, manufacture a life in a lab. Challenge. Not possible.
No.
Not possible. Till date, not possible. You can clone it.
Not possible.
You can take somebody's semen, somebody's ovaries, and you can clone something. But
Yes.
creating new, absolutely
New life is not possible.
not possible. It has to go through the system which is set up by them.
Yes, yes. This
So
is where
basic
the divine hand comes in.
101 is
Divinity.
101. Thank you, Monidipa ji, for coming on the
Yes,
show
yes.
today. And
Yes.
thank you for all the viewers for watching and also giving
Actually, a
thumbs up.
request that when you go to the temple, please study the figures, please understand what Hinduism better.
Yeah, everything has a meaning. And so when you go to there are beautiful Hindu temples in North America, beautiful. There are more than 900 Hindu temples in USA.
Ask for the story, come back and read the stories. If you see a picture, if you see Narasimha, understand the story behind Narasimha. Beautiful stories. So,
and when you go to South American temples, if you're from South America, please, now let's get back to our traditional temples. Avoid the churches and all other Abrahamic places of worship. Thank you so much and namaste.
thank you.